Now that we understand the label, it's time to understand the GOTO statement. The GOTO statement is simply a jump within your program execution. It's a means of you being able to go to a new location. And typically you'll use a GOTO statement with some type of other condition like an if then else. But think of it as nothing more than a jump within your application. That's all it is. There are rules applied to the GOTO statement that you must understand. First, a valid label name must be specified as the target. You have to have your labels first before you can ever specify a GOTO statement. And when you use your GOTO statement, that label has to exist or else you're going to get an error. And it makes sense because if you think about it, if you say go to some location and that location doesn't exist or the application doesn't know, how can it go anywhere? Rule number 2, the angle brackets are used for the label itself. It's not used for the GOTO. So when you specify GOTO space, all you care about is the name itself, no brackets. Keep that in mind. And rule number 3, the GOTO statement simply identifies the name, which kind of goes with the second one, but you need to understand all aspects. And here's an example where we have our declare, we have our begin, and then there's a label called label name. So we have our angle brackets and it says label name in between. Down here you have your GOTO. So you say GOTO space label name. And remember, notice what's at the end of my GOTO statement. I have my semicolon terminator, so you need to have that as well. This is a command. So it literally goes right back up to where label name is and it starts processing there. So that is literally how you can think of a GOTO statement. Now, there are a couple other things you need to understand about a GOTO. It has some eccentricities that you need to be aware of. The label cannot be the last statement in a PL SQL script. So you can't just say go to the end and have some label name and nothing else. It can't say label and then have end. If you do that, you will get an error. You have to have something for it to do. So fortunately, we have a command that we can put if we wanted to simply just stop execution, and that is null. Null is a valid command inside of PL SQL. So right here we have an if statement. We say if active emp SSN equals the inactive emp SSN, then go to conclusion. So we say I want to go to this label called conclusion. And down here we have conclusion, and right after that we just simply have the command called null. And then it says end. So null's not going to do anything, but it keeps us from running into that error, which is the label cannot be the last statement within our PL SQL script. So keep that in mind. If you put a label at the end without some command afterwards, you will get an error. And now you'll be able to remember, oh, I remember something from that course. You got to put some other command. And believe me, the only reason I'm bringing this up is because it's happened to me. When I first started programming in PL SQL, I had a label as the last command, followed by end. Kept getting this error, couldn't figure out what was going on, had to put null in, and I was fine. So just trying to keep that from happening to you. So let's take a look at it. So I have a script out here called GOTO. So if you download that, you can take a look at it with me. But it's no different than the script we had before. We have our declare statement, we have our declare for a type, or we're defining a type, we declare our variables, we have our locate active, we have our output active, we have our locate inactive, and then we have right here at line 43, it says test whether the active and inactive individuals are the same. So I'm literally executing an if then else. So if active emp.ssn equals the inactive emp SSN, then go to conclusion. So literally there's only a true side to this. So if they don't match, it'll just go to the end if and keep on going. But if they do match, it says I've got to go to this location called conclusion. And if I go down to the very bottom, I have conclusion right here. And I have my null statement right after this. So that's all we're doing with a GOTO. Now, I want to point something out to you. The GOTO statement is perfect for a situation like this, where you want to test for something, and if the condition is true, I want to bypass everything else. And instead of having a very, very large if statement that branches over for who knows how far and makes it very difficult for you to process, you can use a GOTO statement to simply say, hey, if this condition is true, go to some location and terminate. We'll be done. And that's fine. If you need to go back and forth, that's when we're going to start talking about looping, and looping is going to be the next topic. But this is how you use the GOTO statement. The labels and the GOTOs work hand in hand. They go together like peanut butter and jelly. So keep that in mind.